Hello, welcome to CGTN. This is our special coverage on China's annual political season known as the Two Sessions. Live from Beijing, I'm Pan Deng. China's top legislature, the National People's Congress, will start its annual session on Tuesday. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. It's also a critical year for achieving the goals of the 14th five-year plan covering the years 2021 to 2025. Global attention has been on how China will move forward on its journey and provide the world with new opportunities through its own development. Authorities will soon brief the media on the session's agenda and take questions from reporters. For more insights, we're joined in the studio by Professor Liu Baocheng from the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor. We'll be talking to you very soon. But first thing first, let's cross live to our reporter Xu Xingchen in Beijing. He's been following this very closely from the media center. Xingchen, bring us up to date.
Absolutely, Pan. As you have mentioned, the presser for the second session of the 14th National People's Congress is about to start. Hit the floor right here in the Great Hall of the People, packed with journalists from both home and abroad. And the spokesperson for the Chinese top legislature is going to brief the media about the upcoming sessions that is officially starting tomorrow, and of course take questions from international and domestic reporters here on the floor. With China's economic recovery at a full swing after COVID, high quality development and policies to boost innovation are some of the areas highly watched by media and of course around the world this year. And of course the new productive force, a new term brought up by President Xi Jinping during his trip to northeastern China's Heilongjiang province by the year end of 2023. Be speaking to some of the NPC deputies on how to define this new term, and they've been agreeing on that development and breakthroughs from China's shift into high quality development can be considered these new forces, productive forces, from smart manufacturing, of course, to tourism, that we see a huge boost in tourism this year during the holiday season, especially during the Spring Festival time of the year. And sustainability and green drive are also some other topics NPC deputies are bringing to Beijing for more discussions, and we're expecting questions on the floor from the media on these areas, and that we'll hope to hear from the spokesperson on more details into this session that we can, official starts tomorrow. And despite the odds, geopolitical tensions, and of course global economic slowdown, that China saw a 5.2% GDP growth last year. That's higher than the target set up during last year's two sessions, but it's not as strong as the double-digit growth China has achieved many years back. But if we look at China's GDP, over $17 trillion, a 5% growth rate can still contribute to a very much large to the global economic growth. So the world is tuning into this event very closely for tunes China set for the new year. Pan Deng.
Thank you very much, our reporter Xu Xingchen in Beijing. Now, for more insight, let's talk to Professor Liu Baocheng in our studio. So, Professor, when we're talking about China's annual political season or the two sessions, it's fair to say that this is Chinese democracy in action. Actually, we have a term for that, whole process people's democracy. Help our global audience understand this.
Well, democracy in the modern sense carries a very good connotation. However, the definition of which is very much diverse. The Chinese understanding of democracy is different to the West, where check and balance, bipartisan type, and universal suffrage. That's something very different to that of China. China is conducting consultative democracy, where we have the Congress elected by the people on proxy, and then that is also the check and supported by the political consultative conference composed of non-ruling parties. And the entire process is that we start from collecting people's opinion, and then people elect their representatives. Then in terms of the entire management and the oversight, there are mechanisms to allow people to exercise their own rights in voice their opinion, and also in the supervising the performance of government officials. So that is something what we call the Chinese whole process of democracy. So therefore, when we define a political term, it is very much dangerous to deviate from the country-specific conditions and its cultural heritage. So therefore, I think China One is best suited for China. It doesn't mean that it is super or universally applicable, but as long as it fits China, and that's the best solution that we can really have.
Now, talking about the expected major items on this year's political season, our reporter Xu Xingchen just mentioned China's economy could be in high focus not only for the Chinese people but also global media attention too. Tell us, what do you make of China's efforts in transforming the whole economic development into a high-quality mode? How's China doing in the past year?
Well, over the years, China is really shifting from the quantitative growth into qualitative growth, and now the buzzword is high quality growth, and also the new productive force. So by that we mean one is that to boost innovation, because skill economy or something that is dependent on labor intensity and resource intensity is really rapidly shifting into more of an innovation-driven economy, where smart manufacturing and also institutional reform that is more compatible with this new development is really conducted. The other dimension is that we need a holistic approach to combine the total quality of not only in terms of economic output, but also with the environmental quality, with the social livelihood, and that also needs really for us to change our mentality and also change the mechanism of social management. So overall, I think it's, we are shifting from the basic criteria of living standard into quality of life.
I'm glad you mentioned this relatively new term, new productive forces. Let's focus on the sectors, real economy, manufacturing. How do you expect that to happen in reality? Because we know currently China has the largest number of patent registration in the world. So it looks like the key question is how to transform all these innovations on paper or in laboratories into actual productive forces and eventually affect people's daily lives.
Yeah, so I've been saying that technology is a commodity if you really do not really put it into application in the market and has commercial return, then it's a waste. So therefore, I think the best practice China has offered is that we are able to amplify the application of new technology. It may not be all indigenous innovation, but we are able to achieve scale and scope economy by using those technologies to turn into productive forces. So today, when China has been stepping up in boosting the Chinese indigenous innovation, and also by collaborating with the rest of the world in terms of research and development, we are able to achieve more of the patent and also the many of the technical know-hows. And now it is time that we are able to combine the digital technology together with the general application of the Chinese market. And of course, we are also oriented to the global demand. And now, when you talk about new productive forces, it's really a exciting but also very painful transformation, because one is that however smart it is in terms of manufacturing, in terms of the operation on the land, you need the good quality people. So therefore, as an educator, I also feel much challenged that we need to revise our curriculum that is there to have our new graduates get best fitted for the new skills and capacity that is required for the new productive force. And the other is that it's not only the technology, but also the institutional reform. For example, over the years, China has benefited a great deal through the introduction of the household responsibility system by distributing small plots of land to individual households to invigorate their passion to work hard on the soil. But now we need more of the skill operation so that land can be collectivized and corporatized, in which large capital and machinery, smart manufacturing, drones can really work on a skill economy. So that really needs to deal with the inertia and also to deal with the mentality and deal with the new construction of mechanism that is there to put things to work, and more importantly, to benefit the people right away.
Indeed, that's quite crucial for future-oriented and forward-looking vision. But we know China is now the world's second largest economy. For an economy at this huge size, keeping its macro fundamentals stable is another tough task, if you will. So how's China doing in this regard?
Well, China has managed such a colossal boat of economy, and now one is the stability. That is the key. So to keep social stability and to maintain the stability of the confidence of the Chinese investors, and also to keep the stability of foreign investment in China. So that's something very important. The other is employment. So because the jobs are both the means and ends for Chinese new productivity, and therefore the government has been devising a number of ways to support the job opportunities, and also including the promoting the job quality for many of the people, and then to provide the right type of social welfare that people really can have confidence into what is lying in the future. That's also important. And also, given the Chinese imbalance, we say in demographic the distribution. So how to deal with the elder generation, which is expanding at a very rapid speed, and how to boost the production of our new babies, in which they can really have the right quality of education, and so that they will turn out to be the mastermind of the Chinese further growth. So that's also important. And lastly, I think to keep a balanced and harmonious relationship with most of our trading partners around the globe. That's very important, because the large part of the Chinese economy is driven by Chinese exports and imports. So therefore, by conducting the right quality and quantity type of growth with our trading partners, be it Europe, North America, and Africa, and that's also something that gave the confidence to the entire supply chain, in which all stakeholders can have more predictable future and also more confidence into the Chinese government operation.
Well, Professor, in the age of economic globalization, it's fair to say that the Chinese economy is not only about China itself, it's in a global picture. So quickly, help us go through some major headwinds China may face in the international arena this year.
Well, if you travel around the world, you see that everywhere there's made in China that helps to boost their own the economy of the host countries, and also providing a better welfare, particularly for the mid or lower income people, because China offers the good price and reasonable quality. And overall, you can also see China's economic growth contributes to more than 30% of the entire global growth. So now the headwinds lies in that the geographical the confrontation is still going on in the hot zones, and also the protectionism sentiment is still going on, because right now national security is being politicized to the point that they're going to subvert the basic notion of free trade, and those major economies, and they are also trying to team up with small blocks of political composites rather than the comparative advantage of national trade. So the other is that given the looming new technology on the digital side, and there has been a lot of debates, who is going to sit in the driver's seats, and what would be the negative consequences people need to prepare
Indeed, maybe
for.
we can find also more answers from this year's annual political season in China. And having
sure.
said that, let's cross live to Beijing. This is a press conference on the upcoming plenary session of China's top legislature, the National People's Congress. This is live footage from Beijing.
Friends from the media, good afternoon. The press conference for the second session of the 14th National People's Congress begins now. Just now, the Presidium held its first meeting and appointed Mr. Lou Qingjian as a spokesperson for the upcoming session. Now, he will brief you on the agenda and arrangements of the session, and then he will take questions on the agenda and the NPC's work. Thank you. Thank you. Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference for the second session of the 14th National People's Congress. Just now, the preparatory meeting adopted the agenda of the upcoming NPC session. Of the 2,956 deputies to the 14th NPC, 2,897 have checked in. We now have everything ready for the session. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China, and a key year in realizing the goals and tasks set out in the 14th Five-Year Plan. It also marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the NPC. The upcoming second session of the 14th NPC is a major event on China's political agenda this year. The session will follow the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for the new era, fully implement the guiding principles of the 20th CPC National Congress, and further align the thinking and action of the Chinese people of all ethnic groups with the decisions and arrangements of the CPC Central Committee. We will faithfully perform the duties as stipulated in the Constitution and laws, and hold a democratic, results-oriented, and inspiring session of unity, and make it a session that brings the Chinese people of all ethnic groups to rally more closely around the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, and work in solidarity to build China into a great modern socialist country in all respects, and advance the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation on all fronts through the Chinese path to modernization. The session will open on the morning of March 5th and close on the afternoon of March 11th. It will last 7 days, during which 3 plenary meetings will be held. There are 7 items on the agenda. First, to deliberate on the report on the work of the government. Second, to review the report on implementing the National Economic and Social Development Plan for 2023 and the draft National Economic and Social Development Plan for 2024. And to review the draft National Economic and Social Development Plan for 2024. Third, to review the report on the execution of the central and local budgets for 2023 and the draft central and local budgets for 2024. and to review the draft central and local budgets for 2024. Fourth, to deliberate on the bill submitted by the NPC Standing Committee concerning the draft amendment to the Organic Law of the State Council of the People's Republic of China. Fifth, to deliberate on the work report of the NPC Standing Committee. Sixth, to deliberate on the work report of the Supreme People's Court. And seventh, to deliberate on the work report of the Supreme People's Procuratorate. 3 press conferences will be held on the sidelines of the session, where leading officials of relevant departments of the State Council will take questions regarding China's diplomacy, the economy, livelihood, etc. Interviews will be arranged at the Deputy's Corridor before each plenary meeting and at the Minister's Corridor after each plenary meeting. Interviews will be mainly conducted on-site, with some via video link or in writing. Press conferences, Deputy's Corridor, Minister's Corridor, and open delegation meetings will be held in person. For latest information on the session's program and agenda, relevant documents, reporting materials, and contact details, please follow the updates on the official website of the Press Center. Each delegation will have a spokesperson, and interview rooms will be set up where the delegations are staying. NPC deputies are encouraged and supported to take interviews and interact with members of the public on relevant topics through online interviews and live streaming. The session will strictly follow the CPC Central Committee's 8-point decision on improving party and government conduct and its implementation regulations. We will practice economy and make continuous efforts to improve the proceedings and the organization of the session and relevant services. I wish you all the best in your work. Thank you.
谢谢。现在请开始提问。
The floor is now open.
请中区第2排第1位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，发言人您好。 我是中央广播电视总台记者。今年是全国人民代表大会成立70周年，请问发言人，这70年来有哪些重要的经验值得总结？此外，人民代表大会制度在推进中国式现代化的新征程上，如何能够更好地去发挥它的制度功效呢？谢谢。
China Media Group CCTV. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the National People's Congress, the NPC. Mr. Spokesperson, over the past 7 decades, what important experience has been drawn? And on the new journey of advancing Chinese modernization, how will the system of People's Congresses better leverage its institutional strength? Thank you.
谢谢你的提问。今年是中华人民共和国成立75周年，也是全国人民代表大会成立70周年。70年来，人民代表大会制度经风雨见彩虹，为创造经济快速发展和社会长期稳定的2大奇迹提供了重要制度保障。特别是党的18大以来，以习近平同志为核心的党中央推进人民代表大会制度理论和实践创新， 推动人大工作取得历史性成就，人民代表大会制度更加成熟，更加定型。
Thank you for the question. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. It is also the 70th anniversary of the establishment of the NPC. Over the past 7 decades, the system of People's Congresses has come a long way, grown a lot, and provided an important institutional safeguard for China to create the 10 miracles of rapid economic growth and long-term social stability. In particular, since the 18th CPC National Congress, the Party Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, has explored new ground in both the theory and practice of the system of People's Congresses. Some historic achievements have been made, and the system is more mature and better established.
关于坚持和完善人民代表大会制度的宝贵经验，2021年，习近平总书记在中央人大工作会议上深刻阐述了6个必须坚持的重要原则，这就是必须坚持中国共产党领导，必须坚持用制度体系保障人民当家作主，必须坚持全面依法治国，必须坚持民主集中制，必须坚持中国特色社会主义政治发展道路，必须坚持推进国家治理体系和治理能力现代化。这6个必须坚持，既是经验总结，也是重要原则，为新征程上长期坚持、不断完善人民代表大会制度提供了科学指引和根本遵循。
On the valuable experience in upholding and improving the system of People's Congresses, General Secretary Xi Jinping gave a profound elaboration of upholding 6 principles at the Central Work Conference on People's Congresses in 2021. The 6 principles are upholding the leadership of the CPC, upholding people's running of the country with institutional safeguards, upholding law-based governance on all fronts, upholding democratic centralism, upholding the path of socialist political advancement with Chinese characteristics, and upholding the modernization of China's system and capacity for governance. The 6 important principles sum up our experience over many years and provide guidance for upholding and improving the system of People's Congresses on the new journey.
谢谢。
全面贯彻党的20大精神，为以中国式现代化全面推进强国建设、民族复兴伟业提供法治保障，是14届全国人大及其常委会的中心任务。我们将继续深入学习贯彻习近平总书记关于坚持和完善人民代表大会制度的重要思想，围绕全国人大成立70周年举行多种形式的庆祝活动，加强对人民代表大会制度的宣传阐释，更好发挥人大的职能作用。
The central task of the 14th NPC and its standing committee is to implement the guidelines of the 20th CPC National Congress and provide legal safeguard for building a great modern socialist country in all respects and advancing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation on all fronts through the Chinese path of modernization. We will continue to study the important thought of General Secretary Xi Jinping on upholding and improving the system of People's Congresses, commemorate the 70th anniversary of the NPC with various events, do more to communicate to the public about the system, and better leverage the role of the People's Congresses.
一是坚持党的领导，人民当家作主，依法治国，有机统一，发展全过程人民民主，更好把国家根本政治制度优势转化为治理效能。二是稳中求进，推动人大工作高质量发展，加强宪法实施和监督，加快完善中国特色社会主义法律体系，增强监督工作的针对性、时效性，支持和保障人大代表依法履职。三是全面推进人大自身建设，使人大成为自觉坚持中国共产党领导的政治机关，保证人民当家作主的国家权力机关，全面担负宪法法律赋予的各项职责的工作机关，始终同人民群众保持密切联系的代表机关。
First, we will uphold the unity between party leadership, the running of the country by the people, and law-based governance. Further develop whole process people's democracy, and better turn the strength of China's fundamental political system into stronger performance in governance. Second, we will steadily advance high-quality development of the work of People's Congresses, enhance the Constitution's enforcement and oversight, improve the socialist legal system with Chinese characteristics, make the oversight more targeted and effective, and support and safeguard deputies' performance of duties. Third, we will enhance the capacity building of the People's Congresses and better play its role as an institution under the leadership of the CPC, ensuring that the people run the country, performing its duties under the Constitution and laws, and always keeping close ties with the people.
行政层上，我们将把推进中国式现代化作为最大的政治，不忘初心，牢记使命，坚持好、完善好、运行好人民代表大会制度，为强国建设、民族复兴伟业保驾护航。谢谢。
On the new journey, we will take advancing Chinese modernization as our central political task, stay true to the founding mission, and further uphold, improve, and apply the system of People's Congresses, so as to provide better safeguard for building a great modern socialist country in all respects and advancing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation on all fronts. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。西区第3排第2位男士，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，人民日报记者提问。2023年是全面贯彻党的20大精神的开局之年，也是14届全国人大及其常委会依法履职的第1年。请问发言人，过去1年的立法工作有哪些新成果、新进展？谢谢。
People's Daily. The year 2023 was the first year in implementing the guidelines of the 20th CPC National Congress. It is also the first year for the 14th NPC and its standing committee to perform their duties in accordance with the law. So, Mr. Spokesperson, what new achievements and new progress have been made in legislative work last year? Thank you.
谢谢您对立法工作的重视。2023年，14届全国人大及其常委会立法工作成果丰硕，主要体现在3个方面：一是绘蓝图，编制完成立法规划，统筹安排本届5年立法任务。规划包括了130件项目，其中一类项目79件，2类项目51件。二是 抓立法，1年里制定法律6件，修改法律8件，决定提请大会审议法律案1件，通过有关法律问题和重大问题的决定11件，正在审议中的法律案有18件。
Thank you for your attention on legislative work. The year 2023 was a productive one for the legislative work of the 14th NPC and its standing committee. We mainly worked on the following fronts. First, making the blueprint. We compiled the legislative plan, which laid out the tasks for the 5-year term of the 14th NPC in a holistic manner. The plan contains 130 items, including 79 Category 1 items and 51 Category 2 items. Second, focusing on legislation. Over the past year, we made 6 pieces of laws, amended 8 pieces of laws, decided to submit 1 bill to the NPC session for deliberation, and adopted 11 decisions on relevant legal matters and major issues. 18 bills are under deliberation.
这些重要立法有不少的亮点，比如为坚持好、完善好、运行好人民代表大会制度，修改立法法和全国人大常委会组成人员守则，作出关于完善和加强备案审查制度的决定，为推动经济高质量发展制定粮食安全保障法，修改公司法，为保障和改善民生制定无障碍环境建设法，修改慈善法，为推进生态文明建设和绿色低碳发展制定青藏高原生态保护法，修改海洋环境保护法，作出关于设立全国生态日的决定，启动生态环境法典编撰工作，为加强对外交往、扩大高水平对外开放，制定对外关系法、外国国家豁免法，修改民事诉讼法等。
There are many highlights in these important legislative efforts. For instance, to better uphold, improve, and apply the system of people's congresses, we amended the law on legislation and rules for component members of the NPC Standing Committee, and made the decision of improving and strengthening the record and review system. To advance high-quality development of the economy, we formulated the law on food security and amended the company law. To protect and improve livelihood, we formulated the law on barrier-free environment and amended the charity law. To build a sound ecology and promote green and low-carbon development, we formulated the law on ecological conservation on the Qinghai-Xizang Plateau, revised the Marine Environment Protection Law, made the decision of designating a National Ecology Day, and started work on compiling a code on ecology and the environment. To step up China's international exchanges and expand high-standard opening up, we formulated the law on foreign relations and the law on foreign state immunity, and revised the civil litigation law.
三是推检查，全国人大常委会高度重视法律的实施，在2023年开展了5项执法检查，涉及到种子法、安全生产法等多部法律。
Third, we advanced law enforcement inspection. The NPC Standing Committee attaches high importance to the enforcement of laws. In 2023, we carried out 5 law enforcement inspections involving the seed law and the law on work safety.
总的看，本届全国人大常委会的立法工作在2023年实现良好开局。下一步，我们将切实履行好 国家立法机关的职责使命，推动中国特色社会主义法律体系更加科学完备、统一权威。谢谢。
Overall, the Standing Committee of the 14th NPC got off to a good start in its legislative work in 2023. Going forward, we will continue to fulfill the duties as the top legislative body and make the socialist legal system with Chinese characteristics better established, more unified, and more authoritative. Thank you.
谢谢，请大家继续提问。请中区第2排第3位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，光明日报记者提问。2024年是实现“十四五”规划目标任务的关键一年，党中央已经做出一系列部署和安排。请问，全国人大的立法工作将如何更好保障中国经济的发展？谢谢。
光明 Daily.The year 2024 is a very important one in realizing the goals and tasks set out in the 14th Five-Year Plan, and the Party Central Committee has laid out many arrangements. So, Mr. Spokesperson, how will the NPC better promote China's economic development with its legislative work? Thank you.
谢谢您。国内外各方面都很关心中国经济。中央经济工作会议已经对扎实做好今年经济工作做出了全面部署。全国人大及其常委会作为国家立法机关，主要通过行使国家立法权，为做好经济工作、推动高质量发展提供法治保障。接下来，全国人大的立法工作将在以下几个方面重点发力，来落实好党中央的部署和安排。
Thank you. I know that many from home and abroad follow the Chinese economy closely. The Central Economic Work Conference made comprehensive arrangements on promoting sound economic performance this year. The NPC and its Standing Committee, as the state legislative body, provide legal safeguard for sound economic work and high-quality development by exercising state legislative power. Going forward, the NPC will focus on the following areas in its legislation to implement the arrangements of the Party Central Committee.
一是围绕改革抓立法，包括落实金融体制改革，促进民营企业发展壮大，通过立法把改革成果固定下来，增强经济发展的内生动力。二是聚焦开放抓立法，包括制定关税法、修改国境卫生检疫法、完善现行法律的涉外条款，持续优化营商环境。三是突出高质量发展抓立法，为深入推进生态文明建设和绿色低碳发展，组织生态环境发电编撰工作。四是立足保障和改善民生抓立法，包括制定学位法、学前教育法、修改传染病防治法等等。
First, deepening reform, including financial institutional reform and reform to better enable private businesses. Our efforts are aimed at locking in the reform results and bolster the internal driving force of the economy. Second, opening up, including the formulation of tariff law, the revision of frontier health and quarantine law, and improvement of the foreign-related clauses in existing laws, in an effort to foster a better business environment. Third, high-quality development. To advance ecological conservation and green and low-carbon development, we organized the compilation of a code on ecology and environment. Fourth, ensuring and improving livelihood. including the formulation of the law on degrees and law on preschool education, and the revision of law on prevention and treatment of infectious diseases.
总的看，中国发展面临的有利条件强于不利因素，经济回升向好、长期向好的基本趋势没有改变。我们有足够的信心和底气，全国人大及其常委会将深入推进科学立法、民主立法、依法立法，稳中求进，推动立法工作，以高质量立法保障经济高质量发展。谢谢。
Overall, China has more favorable conditions than challenges in its economic development. The underlying trend of a rebound in the economy and long-term growth remains unchanged. We have ample confidence on that. The NPC and its standing committee will continue to advance sound, democratic, and law-based legislation, seek steady progress, and provide safeguard for high-quality development with high-quality legislation. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请东区第3排第1位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，发言人您好，香港 TVB 记者提问。我们注意到，自2020年全国人大通过香港国安法后，特区政府已于今年2月28日完成香港基本法第23条立法的公众咨询。请问，这将对香港的稳定发展产生什么影响？未来中央对促进香港的稳定发展有何考虑？谢谢。
谢谢您。
TVB. In 2020, the NPC adopted the law on safeguarding national security in Hong Kong, and we noticed that on February the 28th this year, the Hong Kong SAR government concluded the public consultation on Article 23 legislation. So, Mr. Spokesperson, how will the legislation impact stability and development in Hong Kong, and what are the central authorities' considerations in promoting stability and development of Hong Kong in the future? Thank you.
尽早完成香港基本法规定的维护国家安全立法，是香港特区履行维护国家安全的宪制责任，也是特区落实香港基本法、全国人大关于建立健全香港特别行政区维护国家安全的法律制度和执行机制的决定的，以及香港国安法有关规定的法定义务。
To enact laws on safeguarding national security in accordance with the basic law as soon as possible is the constitutional duty of the Hong Kong SAR. This is also the statutory duty of the Hong Kong SAR in implementing the provisions in the Basic Law, the NPC decision on establishing and improving the legal systems and enforcement mechanisms for safeguarding national security in the Hong Kong SAR, and the provisions in the National Security Law.
这项立法与香港国安法有效衔接，与香港其他法律融会贯通，共同构成系统完善的维护国家安全法律体系，有利于维护国家主权、安全、发展利益，保持香港长期繁荣稳定，有利于保障香港全体居民的根本福祉，有利于保护世界各地来香港投资的利益，确保香港长治久安、一国两制行稳致远。我们将继续密切关注，全力支持香港特区做好有关立法工作。
This legislation works in tandem with the national security law and other laws in Hong Kong. Together, they form a well-established legal system for safeguarding national security, which is conducive to safeguarding national sovereignty, security, and development interests, to maintaining prosperity and stability in Hong Kong in the long run, to ensuring the fundamental well-being of Hong Kong residents, to promoting or protecting the interests of global investors in Hong Kong, and to promoting lasting stability and security of Hong Kong and the sound and sustained development of one country, two systems. We will continue to pay close attention and give full support to the Hong Kong SAR in its legislative efforts.
在一国两制下，香港有着背靠祖国、连通世界的独特优势，经济有韧性、有活力、有潜力。特别是国家一系列重大发展战略，为香港提供了前所未有的空间和机遇。未来，中央将继续支持香港积极融入国家发展大局，主动对接国家发展战略，发挥好在国际国内双循环中的枢纽作用，使香港在国家经济高质量发展和新一轮高水平对外开放中更加繁荣昌盛。谢谢。
Under the one country, two systems, Hong Kong has the unique strength of having the motherland's backing and connecting with the world. It has a resilient, dynamic, and promising economy. In particular, the major national development strategies have provided unprecedented space and opportunities for Hong Kong. Going forward, the central authorities will continue to support Hong Kong in integrating in national development, synergizing with national development strategies, and better leveraging its role as a nexus in the domestic and international circulations, so as to boost Hong Kong's prosperity in high-quality economic development and in a new round of high-standard opening up. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请中区第5排第2位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，发言人您好，我是中新社中新网记者。今年14届全国人大2次会议闭幕后，是否邀请国务院总理出席记者会，并回答中外记者提问？谢谢。
With China News Service. After the conclusion of the second session of the 14th NPC, will the Premier of the State Council be invited to meet the press and take questions from journalists? Thank you.
去年14届全国人大1次会议闭幕后，大会发言人邀请新一届国务院总理李强同志出席了记者会。李强同志在回答中外记者提问时，围绕全面贯彻落实党的20大精神和党中央决策部署，就媒体和社会普遍关心的经济社会发展重点问题以及政府自身建设做了深入阐述，以明确整个任期的工作思路。
Last year, after the conclusion of the first session of the 14th NPC, the spokesperson of the session invited Premier Li Qiang of the new term State Council to meet the press. While answering journalists' questions centering on implementing the guidelines of the 20th CPC National Congress and the decisions and arrangements of the Party Central Committee, Premier Li Qiang gave a profound elaboration on the much-followed key issues in economic and social development and on enhancing the capacity of the government. He also laid out the overall approach of this term of government.
明天14届全国人大2次会议就要开幕了，李强总理将做政府工作报告。国家发展改革委、财政部受国务院委托，将向大会书面提交 计划报告和预算报告。应该说，社会的主要关切在上述3个报告中都有具体的回应。这3个报告经大会通过后，将向社会公布，媒体和公众都能很方便地了解相关内容。同时，大会新闻中心将增加部长记者会和部长通道的场次和出席人数，邀请国务院有关部门的主要负责同志就外交、经济、民生等主题回答中外记者提问，权威解读有关政策措施，对社会关注问题做深入解读和说明。此外，还将举行代表团开放团组活动，办好代表通道等，为中外记者提供更多的采访机会。
Tomorrow, the second session of the 14th MPC will open. Premier Li Qiang will deliver the report on the work of the government. The National Development and Reform Commission and the Ministry of Finance, entrusted by the State Council, will submit to the session the report on the draft National Economic and Social Development Plan and the draft budget report. In the 3 reports, there are specific responses to the main concerns from different sectors. And after they are adopted by the session, the 3 reports will be made public. It is very convenient for the media and for the general public to learn about relevant content. And also, the press center of the session will organize more press conferences given by more ministers and also organize ministers' corridor. And leading officials from the State Council departments will answer questions on diplomacy, on the economy, and on livelihoods. They will give authoritative interpretation on relevant policies and measures and respond to questions of great public interest. Delegations will also have interactive sessions with the media, and there will also be Deputy's Corridor to provide more interview opportunities for journalists from home and abroad.
统筹考虑以上安排，今年14届全国人大2次会议闭幕后，不举行总理记者会。如无特殊情况，本届全国人大后几年已不再举行总理记者会。谢谢。
Considering the above, there will not be a press conference given by the Premier after the conclusion of the second session of the 14th MPC. And barring any special circumstances, this arrangement will continue for the remainder of this term of the MPC. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请西区第2排第4位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。中国日报记者提问：近年来，世界大国之间在5G、芯片、人工智能等高科技领域竞争愈加激烈，一些国家甚至采取制裁、脱钩、断链、去风险等极端的手法。请问发言人，您如何看待各国在科技领域的竞争？近年来，全国人大在推进高水平科技自立自强方面做了哪些工作？谢谢。
China Daily. In recent years, we are witnessing more and more intense competition between major countries in high-tech areas like 5G, chips, and artificial intelligence. Some countries resorted to sanctions, to decoupling and severing supply chains, and to de-risking. Mr. Spokesperson, how do you view the global competition in science and technology? And what has the NPC done in recent years to contribute to China's efforts in building its scientific and technological strength? Thank you.
谢谢。5G、芯片、人工智能都属于计算机和通讯的范畴。近年来，计算机和互联网技术带来了交叉融合创新、集成创新和应用创新，推动新一轮科技革命和产业变革， 深入发展。在这个过程中，各国在科技领域出现竞争是正常的。中国主张开放合作才是探索科技前沿、推动科技发展的正确选择。科技竞技场应遵循科技发展规律，符合市场经济规则，搞脱钩断链、小院高墙，只会阻碍全球科技进步，损害全球产业发展，拉大全球发展鸿沟。
5G, chips, and artificial intelligence are all technologies in the field of computer and telecommunications. In recent years, computer and internet technologies have brought about a lot of innovation in many cross-cutting areas and in terms of application, which further advanced the new round of scientific and technological revolution and industrial transformation. And in this process, it is only normal that countries have competition. China believes that open cooperation is the right choice in exploring the frontiers of science and advancing sci-tech development. Competition in this field should follow the logic of sci-tech development and market economy rules. Attempts at decoupling, severing supply chains, and building small yard high fence will only impede scientific and technological advances globally, undermine global industrial development, and widen the development gap.
在这里，我想举一个例子，关于卫星导航系统。中国在本世纪初就曾经希望通过国际合作，与有关国家和地区共同研发一套卫星导航系统，但由于种种原因，进展缓慢，陷入僵局。在这样的情况下，国家不得不下决心，通过自己的努力，建设一个技术先进、功能强大、世界一流的卫星导航系统。通过近30年的不懈努力和刻苦攻关，北斗卫星导航系统在全球范围内实现了广泛应用，赋能国行国业，融入基础设施，成为经济社会发展的时空基石。
Here I want to share with you an example. It is about satellite navigation system. At the beginning of this century, China had wanted to develop a satellite navigation system with relevant countries and regions through international cooperation. But due to various reasons, progress was rather slow and the cooperation ran into a stalemate. So under such circumstances, China had to make the decision of relying on its own efforts to develop a world-class satellite navigation system with advanced technologies and strong capabilities. Now, after nearly 30 years of unrelenting efforts to make breakthroughs, the Beidou satellite navigation system has become widely applied around the world and being integrated into infrastructure. It is empowering many sectors and has become a time and space cornerstone for economic and social development.
这个例子充分说明，只要我们坚持自立自强，就没有攻克不了的难关。任何一项已知的技术，要卡是卡不住的，最多就是时间问题。关键是，我们要加强科技知识产权的创造、应用和保护。我们提出高水平科技自立自强，并不是关起门来搞研发，而是致力于推动全球科技创新习作，积极参与全球创新网络，共同推进基础研究，推动科技成果转化，培育经济发展新动能，更好 增进人类福祉。
This example fully demonstrates that as long as we work hard to build our strength, there is no difficulty that we cannot overcome. For any known technology, no one can put a stranglehold on us. It's just a matter of time before we develop it. The key is to redouble efforts on the creation, application, and protection of intellectual property in science and technology. At the same time, I have to make it clear that by building its strength in science and technology, China is not trying to do research behind closed doors, but rather we're committed to global innovation, collaboration, and active participation in global innovation networks. We would like to work with all countries to advance basic research and the utilization of research results, and foster new growth drivers of the economy so as to promote humanity's well-being.
全国人大及其常委会在科技领域的立法，主要是科学技术进步法、促进科技成果转化法、科学技术普及法等3部法律。2023年，全国人大常委会对于科学技术进步法实施情况进行了执法检查。下一步，我们将研究推进科技创新方面的立法，特别是深入研究人工智能、生物技术等前沿科技领域有关伦理、道德、安全等重要问题，不断完善科技法律体系。谢谢。
The NPC and its standing committee have made 3 pieces of laws in the field of science and technology, namely the law on progress of science and technology, the law on promoting the utilization of scientific and technological achievements, and the law on popularizing science and technology. In 2023, the NPC Standing Committee carried out law enforcement inspection on the law on progress of science and technology. Going forward, we will make more legislative efforts in the field of innovation, especially with regard to the important ethical, moral, and security issues in frontier areas such as artificial intelligence and biotechnology, in an effort to improve the legal system on science and technology. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请第1排第4位男士提问，谢谢。
Antonio Faticoso for ANSA, Italian News Agency, Mr. Spokesperson. One of the most important topics of the 2 sessions is the military budget. Last year, it was expected to rise by 7.2% year-on-year to 1.56 trillion yuan, the biggest rise in 4 years. Considering the tension underway in the South and East China Sea, would you like to share with us any figure for the 2024 military budget? Thank you.
意大利安莎社，国防预算是每年两会最重要的议题之一。去年中国的军费同比增长7.2%，达到了1.56万亿元。 这是4年来的最大增幅。当前南海、东海局势紧张，请问发言人能否介绍今年国防预算的情况？谢谢。
谢谢。据我所知，每年召开大会时，都有媒体关注国防预算问题。按照国防法、预算法等法律法规的要求，国防支出预算 是国家整体预算的一部分，每年的国防支出预算都纳入政府预算草案，由全国人大审查和批准，依法管理和使用。根据大会议程，本次大会已将审查政府预算草案的报告，之后对外公布。
Thank you. Well, each year during the NPC session, there will be media attention on defense budget. According to the Law on National Defense, the Budget Law, and other laws and regulations, the national defense budget, as part of the overall budget, is included in the draft government budget. It is to be reviewed and approved by the National People's Congress and managed and utilized in accordance with the law. According to the agenda of this session, it will review the draft budget, which will be published afterwards.
近年来，为维护国家主权、安全、发展利益，适应中国特色军事变革的需要，更好履行大国国际责任义务，中国在推动经济社会持续健康发展的同时，总体保持国防支出合理稳定增长，促进国防实力和经济实力同步提升。我想强调的是，与美国等军事大国相比，中国的国防支出，无论是占国内生产总值的比重，占国家财政支出的比重，还是国民人均国防费、军人人均国防费等，一直都是比较低的。
In recent years, to better safeguard our sovereignty, security, and development interests, to meet the need of military transformation with Chinese characteristics, and to better perform China's international responsibilities and obligations as a major country, China has maintained reasonable and steady growth of its defense spending, consistent with its sound and steady economic and social development, to promote synchronized growth of defense capability and economic strength. I wish to stress that compared with major military powers such as the United States, China's defense spending is quite low, whether as a percentage of GDP or total budget, or in terms of per citizen or per service member expenditure.
中国坚定不移走和平发展道路，愿与各国共享发展机遇，建设相互尊重、公平正义、合作共赢的新型国际关系，推动构建人类命运共同体，为人类和平与发展的崇高事业做出新的贡献。谢谢。
China is committed to the path of peaceful development. We stand ready to share development opportunities with all, foster a new type of international relations featuring mutual respect, fairness and justice, and win-win cooperation, build a community with a shared future for mankind, and make new contributions to the noble cause of peace and development. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请中区第4排第2位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人。发言人您好，经济日报记者提问。全国人大常委会去年10月批准了国务院提出的中央预算调整方案，批准增发1万亿元国债。请问这项重大决策的考虑是什么？目前落实情况如何？谢谢。
Economic Daily. Last October, the NPC Standing Committee approved an adjustment to the central budget submitted by the State Council. An additional 1 trillion RMB yuan of government bonds was approved. What is the consideration behind this major decision, and how is it implemented? Thank you.
去年夏天，我国各地遭受暴雨、洪涝、台风等灾害。部分地区受灾严重，损失较大。灾害发生后，党中央高度重视，对地方灾后恢复重建作出全面部署。国务院提出增发1万亿元国债，集中力量支持灾后恢复重建，相应调整2023年中央财政预算。
Last summer, multiple places in China were hit by torrential rain, floods, typhoon, and other natural disasters, resulting in heavy losses in some localities. The Party Central Committee takes disaster response and post-disaster rebuilding very seriously and made comprehensive arrangements. The State Council proposed to issue an additional 1 trillion yuan of government bonds to support post-disaster rebuilding. The budget for the central government in 2023 was adjusted correspondingly.
去年10月，14届全国人大常委会第6次会议审查批准了国务院提出的2023年中央预算调整方案。目前，2023年1万亿元增发国债项目全部下达完毕，支持项目15000多个。 其实保障和改善受灾地区人民群众的民生。
In October last year, the 6th meeting of the Standing Committee of the 14th NPC reviewed and approved the proposal on adjusting the 2023 central government budget submitted by the State Council. Now, all of the 1 trillion yuan of additional government bonds have been allocated, which support over 15,000 projects to truly protect and improve livelihoods in disaster-hit areas.
今年，全国人大常委会将持续监督增发国债资金的管理和使用情况，督促国务院有关部门加强项目和资金管理。 确保每一笔资金都用好，用出实效。谢谢。
This year, the NPC Standing Committee will continue to supervise the management and utilization of funds from the additional government bonds and urge State Council departments to better manage the projects and funds to make sure that every penny is put to good use. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。 请东区第2排第3位女士，谢谢。
Thank you. A question from Reuters. Thank you very much. Our question is, China has revised the law on guarding state secrets after expanding its anti-espionage law last year. The broad and vague wording of the revisions has worried some foreign businesses, concerned that they could be punished for regular business activities. Will laws change further this year to create even more uncertainty for businesses? Thank you.
路透社，中国自去年修订反间谍法后，又修订通过了保守国家秘密法。新修订法案中宽泛模糊的表述，引发一些外国投资者的担忧，自己是否会因正常的商业行为而受到惩罚？请问今年是否还会进一步修订相关的法律，从而给市场带来更多的不确定性？谢谢。
谢谢你的提问。去年4月，全国人大常委会审议通过新修订的反间谍法。有外媒报道，这次修法扩大了间谍行为的范畴，会导致外国人和外国公司来中国面临更大的风险。在这里，我要特别强调，这是对反间谍法的错误解读。
Thank you. In April 2023, the NPC Standing Committee approved the newly revised counter-espionage law. Some foreign media claimed that the revision broadened the definition of espionage activities and would bring greater risks to foreign nationals and foreign companies coming to China. Well, let me make it clear that this is a misinterpretation of the counter-espionage law.
大家可以仔细读一下条文。新修订的反间谍法并没有扩大间谍行为的范围，而是在参考 国际通行做法，合理借鉴各国法律制度的基础上，完善了间谍行为的定义，明确了非法行为和合法行为的界限，增强了外国企业和外国人在华投资、工作、生活的确定性和安全感，不针对商业往来、科研合作、学术交流等正常活动。我们反对通过曲解反间谍法抹黑、破坏中国营商环境的行径。
If you go through the provisions carefully, you will find that the newly revised law did not broaden the scope of espionage activities. Rather, based on common international practices and drawing upon the legal systems of other countries, it has actually refined the definition of espionage activities and made clear the line between legal and illegal activities. The law, in fact, enhances the sense of certainty and security of foreign companies and nationals when they invest, work, and live in China. It does not target normal business activities, research cooperation, and academic exchanges. We are opposed to any attempt of denigrating or attacking China's business environment by misinterpreting the counter-espionage law.
近年来，全国人大常委会先后制定和修改了多部涉外法律，并在本届立法规划中安排了多个涉外法律项目，为保护在华外国人和境外企业组织的合法权益提供了法律依据，支持市场化、法治化、国际化一流营商环境建设。
In recent years, the NPC Standing Committee has formulated and revised many foreign-related laws and included many foreign-related items in the current legislation plan. We're doing so to provide the legal basis for protecting the lawful rights and interests of foreign nationals, companies, and institutions in China, and to support the building of a market-oriented and law-based business environment up to international standards.
中国始终坚持改革开放基本国策，发展对外关系，促进友好交往，欢迎并吸引外国人和境外企业组织来华商贸投资、交流合作。对这一点，中国的态度从未改变，亦不会改变。中国的大门对世界始终是打开的，不会关上。开着门，世界能够进入中国，中国也才能走向世界。中国将坚持在法治基础上推进高水平对外开放，在扩大开放中推进涉外法治建设，不断夯实高水平开放的法治根基。谢谢。
China is committed to the fundamental state policy of reform and opening up, and to developing external relations and promoting friendly exchanges. We welcome foreign nationals, companies, and organizations to China for business, investment, exchange, and cooperation. On this matter, China's attitude has never changed and will never change. China's door remains open to the world, and it will not shut. When the door is open, the world can enter China, and China can embrace the world. China will stay committed to promoting high standard opening up on the basis of the rule of law and enhancing foreign-related legal building in the process of expanding opening up, so as to cement the legal foundation for high standard opening up. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请西区第5排第1位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，发言人您好，我是新华社记者。 此次大会议程中有一项是审议国务院组织法修订草案，请问发言人能否介绍一下这次修法的背景和主要考虑？谢谢。
Xinhua News Agency. One agenda item of the session is to deliberate on the draft amendment to the organic law of the State Council. Mr. Spokesperson, can you share with us the background and main considerations of this revision? Thank you.
感谢你对本次大会议程的关注。国务院组织法是关于国务院组织制度和工作制度的基本法律。现行的国务院组织法是5届全国人大5次会议审议通过的。40多年来，为加强政府自身建设发挥了积极作用。党的20大对转变政府职能、加快建设法治政府作出重点部署，提出明确要求，在认真总结实践经验的基础上，14届全国人大常委会第7次会议决定将国务院组织法修订草案提请本次全会审议。
Thank you for your attention on the agenda. The organic law of the State Council is a basic law on the organizational and working institutions of the State Council. The current organic law of the State Council was adopted by the 5th session of the 5th NPC. Over the past 40-plus years, it has played a positive role in enhancing the capacity building of the government. The 20th CPC National Congress laid out arrangements and clear requirements on transforming government functions and accelerating the building of law-based government. On the basis of summing up experience in practice, the Standing Committee of the 14th NPC, at its 7th meeting, decided to submit the draft amendment of the organic law of the State Council to this session for deliberation.
修订草案已向社会公开征求意见。总的看，此次修订以法律形式落实深化党和国家机构改革的精神。修订的主要内容包括4个方面：一是明确国务院的性质地位和国务院工作的指导思想；二是完善国务院机构及其职权的相关规定；三是健全国务院会议制度；四是增加国务院依法全面正确履行职能的制度措施。此次大会将听取对该法修订的说明，请媒体朋友们届时关注。谢谢。
Now, public opinions have been sought on the draft amendment. On the whole, this revision is an effort on the legal front to deepen the reform of party and state institutions. The revision mostly comes in 4 areas. First, it clarifies the nature and status of the State Council and the guiding principles of the State Council's work. Second, it improves provisions on State Council institutions and their power and functions. Third, it improves the State Council meeting system. Fourth, it adds institutions and measures on the State Council's comprehensive and correct performance of duties in accordance with the law. This session will listen to the explanation on the revision of this law, and friends from the media are welcome to follow that. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请中区第2排第5位女士提问，谢谢。
Thank you. Associated Press. My question is on U.S.-China relations. The previous year has seen a resumption of high-level dialogues between the two countries, culminating in a summit meeting between leaders of both countries. This year, the U.S. has entered election year. What would a continued Biden presidency or a possible return of Donald Trump mean for bilateral relations? And what impact would that outcome have for US-China relations? Thank you.
美联社，我的问题是关于美中关系。去年中美元首旧金山会晤后，两国关系出现改善迹象。今年美国进入大选年，那这对中美关系意味着什么？大选结果会对中美关系产生什么影响？谢谢。
谢谢你的提问。中美关系稳下来、好起来，是大家普遍关注并期待的。中方的态度一以贯之，就是按照习近平主席提出的相互尊重、和平共处、合作共赢三原则，推动两国关系稳定、健康、可持续发展。我们这么说，也是这么做的。希望美方遵守承诺，共同筑牢中美关系5个共同的重要支柱，把两国元首旧金山会晤达成的共识和愿景挪到实处。
Thank you. To stabilize and improve China-US relations is something that everyone follows closely and expects to see. China's position has been consistent. That is, we will follow the principles of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation put forward by President Xi Jinping and work for a stable, healthy, and sustainable relationship with the United States. We have taken concrete actions toward that. It is hoped that the U.S. will honor its commitment, build stronger the 5 pillars for China-U.S. relations, and translate the understandings and vision agreed on by the 2 presidents at San Francisco into real actions.
您刚才提到美国大选的问题，我想，美国大选是美国的内政，我们对此不持立场。不论谁当选，我们都希望美方能够同中方相向而行，推动中美关系朝着稳定、健康、可持续的方向发展。
Well, you mentioned the U.S. presidential election. Well, it is an internal affair of the United States. China does not hold a position on that. No matter who becomes the president, we hope that the U.S. can work in the same direction with China and work for a stable, healthy, and sustainable China-U.S. relationship.
坦率地说，在中国老百姓的印象中，经常看到一些美国议员抛出反华议案，采取针对中国机构、企业和公民的反华言行，甚至窜访中国台湾地区。这些做法粗暴干涉了中国内政，损害中方的正当权益，干扰两国正常的交往合作。对此，中国全国人大已通过发表声明等方式，明确表达了中方坚决反对的立场和态度。
Well, frankly speaking, ordinary Chinese people often see members of the U.S. Congress put out bills to counter China, target Chinese institutions, companies, and nationals, or even make provocative visits to China's Taiwan region. These acts have grossly interfered in China's internal affairs, undermined China's legitimate rights and interests, and disrupted normal exchanges and cooperation between the 2 countries. In response, the NPC has made clear China's firm opposition through statements and other means.
过去几年来，虽然遭遇了多重困难，但中美立法机构仍通过各种方式保持着接触。去年，美国国会参议院多数党领袖舒默参议员率2党议员代表团访华，就是其中的一个例子。今年是两国建交45周年，双方立法机构还是要多来往、多对话、多交流， 增进彼此了解，为中美关系平稳发展发挥建设性作用。谢谢。
Over the past years, legislatures of China and the US have maintained interaction via various means, despite the many difficulties. And one example is the visit of a bipartisan delegation led by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to China. This year marks the 45th anniversary of China-US diplomatic relations. It is important for legislatures of the two countries to have more exchanges, dialogue, and communication to deepen mutual understanding and play a constructive role in the stable development of China-US relations. Thank you.
谢谢，请继续提问。请东区第4排第2位女士提问，谢谢。
Thank you. Question from CNA. China has talked about its neighborhood diplomacy policy to build a secure and prosperous region. However, there are some countries which have said that China has, for example, turned the South China Sea into a dangerous flashpoint. Given there are still unresolved issues in the region, how does China intend to respond to ensure that these tensions do not escalate and ensure stability in Asia? Is China concerned about the future prospects and ties with countries in the region? Thank you.
新加坡亚洲新闻台。中国表示，其周边外交政策旨在维护地区安全，推进地区繁荣。但有些国家认为，中国把南海变成了一个危险的爆发点。本地区仍然存在一些未解决的问题，请问中方将如何应对，从而避免紧张局势升级，影响亚洲稳定？另外，中方对与周边国家关系前景是否感到担忧？谢谢。
谢谢。中国周边外交的基本方针就是坚持以邻为善、以邻为伴，坚持睦邻、安邻、富邻，突出体现亲诚惠容的理念。中国始终将周边置于中国外交全局的重要位置。10多年来， 习近平主席出访足迹遍布周边各国，有力引领拓展睦邻友好格局。在各方的共同努力下，中国同地区国家一道，坚定不移走长期睦邻友好、共同发展繁荣的正确道路，推动构建人类命运共同体，取得累累硕果。
Thank you. The basic guideline in China's neighborhood diplomacy is to develop friendship and partnership with neighbors, foster an amicable, secure, and prosperous neighborhood, and uphold the principles of amity, sincerity, mutual benefit, and inclusiveness. China has given high priority to its neighboring countries in its overall diplomatic work. Over the past 10+ years, President Xi Jinping has visited many of China's neighbors, which has provided strong impetus in developing good neighborliness. With concerted efforts of various parties, China has joined hands with regional countries to keep to the right path of long-lasting good neighborliness and shared progress and prosperity. We have worked together to promote the building of a community with a shared future for mankind, and we produced a lot of fruits.
一是人类命运共同体理念深入人心，中国与周边国家的命运共同体建设，在中南半岛、中亚地区实现了全覆盖，更为紧密的 中国东盟命运共同体建设扎实推进。二是共建“一带一路”走深走实，地区国家纷纷加入共建“一带一路”，一大批项目形成示范效应，为所在国经济社会发展提供了重要动力。三是经贸合作蓬勃发展，中国与 地区国家达成区域全面经济伙伴关系协定，建成全球规模最大、潜力最大的自贸区。中国与东盟以多年互为最大贸易伙伴，在全球化逆风中树立了合作的典范。
First, the vision of a community with a shared future for mankind has taken deep roots. All countries in the Indochina Peninsula and Central Asia have committed to building a community with a shared future with China. A closer China-ASEAN community with a shared future is now advancing with good momentum. Second, Belt and Road cooperation has delivered more real benefits. Many regional countries have joined Belt and Road cooperation, and a large number of projects have served as models and become important drivers for social and economic development in respective countries. Third, economic and trade cooperation is booming. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement was concluded between China and regional countries, forming the world's largest and most promising free trade area. China and ASEAN have been each other's largest trading partner for many years running, setting an example against the headwinds of anti-globalization.
你提到的有关南海问题，我要强调的是，中方将继续坚定维护自身的领土主权和海洋权益，同时愿同有关国家通过对话协商妥处有关问题，共同维护南海地区的和平与安宁。
You mentioned the South China Sea. Let me stress that China will continue to firmly safeguard its territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests. At the same time, we will properly handle relevant issues with relevant countries through dialogue and consultation, and jointly safeguard peace and tranquility in the South China Sea.
中国反对搞阵营对抗和小圈子。中国与周边国家的合作是开放的、包容的，不是排他的。近年来，全国人大发挥自身优势，积极与周边国家立法机构开展了多层次、多渠道、宽领域的交流与合作，努力为中国与周边国家命运共同体建设夯实了民意基础，提供法律保障。
China is opposed to bloc confrontation and small circles. Its cooperation with neighboring countries is open and inclusive, not exclusive. In recent years, the NPC has leveraged its strength and actively engaged in multi-tiered and wide-ranging exchanges and cooperation with the legislatures of neighboring countries through various channels, and we've worked hard to enhance the popular support and provide legal basis for building a community with a shared future between China and its neighboring countries.
中方将继续积极践行亲诚惠容理念，深化同周边国家友好合作和利益融合，让中国式现代化惠及更多周边国家，弘扬和平、合作、包容、融合的亚洲价值观，为地区团结、开放和进步提供新的助力。与各国携手构建人类命运共同体，共同应对挑战，实现共同繁荣。谢谢。
Going forward, China will continue to act on the principles of amity, sincerity, mutual benefit, and inclusiveness, deepen friendship, cooperation, and converging interests with neighboring countries, and bring more benefits to our neighbors with Chinese modernization. We will uphold the Asian values of peace, cooperation, inclusiveness, and integration, provide new impetus for solidarity, openness, and progress of the region, and together build a community with a shared future for mankind to overcome challenges and realize common prosperity. Thank you.
谢谢，媒体朋友们，现在已经大概1点半左右，因为时间的原因，我们现在请提最后一个问题。
In the interest of time, we will have one more question, please.
请西区第4排这位女士提问，谢谢。
谢谢主持人，发言人您好，法制日报全媒体记者提问。我们注意到，在去年全国人大常委会专门设立了代表工作委员会，想请您介绍一下代表工委成立以来都做了哪些方面的工作？谢谢。
Legal Daily. Last year, the NPC Standing Committee set up a committee on work related to deputies. My question is, what has the committee done since its establishment? Thank you.
感谢你对代表工作的关注。代表工作委员会成立以来，各项工作有序有力，实现了良好开局，推动代表工作进一步走深走实。一是密切全国人大常委会同代表的联系，每次常委会会议都邀请代表例席，召开例席代表座谈会，赵乐际委员长面对面同例席代表交流，听取意见建议。常委会组成人员与418位代表建立了直级联系，各专门委员会、工作委员会也直接联系了若干名代表，实现常委会同代表联系全覆盖。1年来，有270多人次代表例席了常委会会议，50多人次代表参加了执法检查，23件次法律草案征求代表意见。
Thank you for your attention on work related to deputies. Since the Committee on Work Related to Deputies was set up, it has performed various tasks, got off to a good start, and further advanced the work relating to deputies. First, the committee forged closer contacts between the NPC Standing Committee and the deputies. Deputies are invited to sit in on all standing committee meetings and would have a symposium where Chairman Zhao Leji would have a face-to-face interaction with the deputies to listen to their views and suggestions. Members of the Standing Committee have direct contact with 418 deputies. The special committees and working committees also have direct contact with a large number of deputies, realizing full coverage in the Standing Committee's contacts with the deputies. Over the past year, more than 270 deputies sat in at Standing Committee meetings. Over 50 deputies took part in law enforcement inspections, and deputies were solicited views on draft laws on 23 occasions.
2是保障代表密切联系人民群众，充分听取群众的意见，依法组织代表开展专题调研、集中视察和代表小组活动，依托覆盖全国的基层立法联系点、代表之家、代表联络站、代表活动室等工作平台，开通了代表听取群众意见建议的直通车。
Second, the committee facilitated the deputies' close contacts with the people and the voicing of people's views. In accordance with the law, the committee organized themed studies, inspections, and group activities for deputies, and through nationwide platforms such as the legislative outreach offices, deputies' homes, contact stations, and activity centers, put in place through trains, taking voices from the grassroots directly to the deputies.
3是办好全国人大代表的议案和建议。去年大会期间，代表提出的271件议案，交由9个专门委员会审议， 对各方面工作提出的8314件建议、批评和意见，交由204家单位研究办理。目前，这些议案建议已全部审议办理完毕，有的已经转化为14届全国人大及其常委会立法规划中的立法项目，有的已经由相关部门转化为深化改革、推动发展的政策措施。
Third, the committee facilitated the handling of NPC deputies' proposals and recommendations. The 271 proposals put forth by the deputies at last year's session were handed to 9 special committees for deliberation, and the 8,314 pieces of suggestions, criticism, and opinions were passed on to 204 institutions for further study and handling. Now, all of these proposals and recommendations have been reviewed and handled. Some of them have been included in the legislative plan, some others have been turned into policy measures in deepening reform and promoting development by relevant departments.
今年，我们将按照党中央关于加强和改进新时代人大代表工作的要求，修改完善代表法，持续提升代表工作水平，为人大代表依法履职提供更好的服务保障。谢谢。
This year, we will continue to act on the CPC Central Committee's requirement on enhancing and improving work related to deputies in the new era, revise and improve the law on deputies, steadily enhance the work of deputies, and provide better services and safeguards for deputies to perform their duties. Thank you.
媒体朋友们，今天的新闻发布会到此结束，谢谢发言人，谢谢大家，再见。
And that concludes today's press conference.